इंडिया को एलिफेंट सिर्फ उसके साइज की वजह से नहीं बोलते. इट्स ऑल्सो बिकॉज एलिफेंट इज वन ऑफ द स्मार्टेस्ट एनिमल्स ऑन planet Earth. We plot our moves. So while Donald Trump thought that he will surprise us with his 50% tariff on our textile industry, he didn't know that we had a plan B. So guys, just grab your chai and let me reveal to you how we flipped Donald Trump's script back on him. So friends, I'm your host, Mahendra Nodi, and also the host of this channel, Hegenomist. I bring to you some interesting insights with a lot of research behind it. And you know what? At the end, knowledge is your best friend. It will help you hedge against every market movement. So today, I will break down how the elephant outplayed the game and India has got the smarts. So before we move on, please hit that like button and subscribe. Now let's examine what is the core of India's strategy and how port restrictions and GST reforms will turn the tide. In May 2025, India acted decisively, limiting Bangladeshi garment imports into only Calcutta and Nhava Sheva seaports, effectively closing northeastern land routes. The intent was clear: disrupt Bangladesh's supply chain, which relied heavily on these routes, and discourage cheap Chinese imports and dumping into India. So that would mean that we will redirect the economic activity inward. Okay, this move targeted 600 million of the annual ready-made garments import, which is a significant portion of the total 770 million bilateral trade with Bangladesh. By June, these restrictions expanded to include jute and woven fabrics also, reinforcing this shift and creating an estimated 1200 crores worth opportunity for Indian manufacturers, particularly small and medium enterprises in the Northeast. This wasn't just a reactive step, it was a prevention. The timing, it was just ahead of US's August 50% tariff escalation, which suggests that we sort of anticipated the pressure on this 10 billion textile export. By choking Bangladesh's access, which included curbing the influx of Chinese dumped fabrics, India mitigated the risk of order losses to a competitor benefiting from 20% tariff rates. Which is true, Bangladesh ka tariff on textiles is 20%, which effectively cuts us off. And the data backs this. Yarn imports from Bangladesh dropped by 230,000 kilograms between April and June 2025, signaling a successful rerouting. But the strategy didn't just stop there. India paired this with GST reforms. In September 2025, proposals to unify textile GST at 5% aimed to address inverted duty structures, potentially reducing the price of our shirts and pants by 8 to 9%. So this is not just a tax cut, it's a demand booster. And with the festive season just around the corner, and which drives 30 to 40% of India's apparel sales, which is roughly estimated to be 1.15 to 1.2 lakh crores in e-commerce, this reform could sustain a consumption despite external shocks. The combination of supply control through ports, tackling both Bangladesh's reliance and Chinese dumping, and demand stimulation through GST reflects a calculated plan, executed well before this tariff impacted, proving India's elephant's intelligence was at work all along. Now let's turn to the festive season, a critical pair of India's strategy. Between September and November 2025, the period drives 30 to 40% of annual apparel sales, and it's a cornerstone of the textile industry. E-commerce sales are projected at 1.15 lakh to 1.2 lakh crores, and the demand is significant. 92% of consumers plan to maintain or increase spending despite external pressures. The proposed GST reduction to 5% will obviously reduce prices and sustaining this momentum, and it will in fact boost the sales by 20 to 30%. This aligns with pre-planned approach, using festive demand to offset the $4 to $10 billion US export loss, proving that elephant's intelligence was at work to strengthen the domestic market all along. That was some serious trade talk. Remember Modi and Trump ka bromance? hugs and rallies, एकदम करण अर्जुन लग रहे थे. और English के, and for our listeners in English, they looked almost like brothers from different mothers. But looks like Trump forgot his best friend. So here is the big picture. India's port restrictions and GST strategy weren't just knee-jerk reactions. They were a calculated plan, executed months ahead to counter US's 50% tariff threat that was looming all along since Trump joined the office. The key to execute this well is getting the GST reforms in time. And we've already seen कि वो थोड़ा सा delay हो गया है. So, but share me your thoughts below. Do you think this will hold if the GST reforms are passed in time in next 10-15 days? Before I leave, thank you for tuning in to Hedgeonomist. Thank you for your time. Subscribe and hit that like button, and join me next time for more interesting discussions on many topics. Thank you.